I think we live in a society where we want to protect our kids so much. Can you talk a little bit about that and just how as a parent do we do that and kind of get past allowing our kids maybe to stumble and fall and to make those mistakes, but definitely within a semi-controlled environment at least.
Yeah, and I think you just kind of, you have to realize that the stakes are fairly low, in that situation
Mm,
where they're going to get outdoors. And yes, they might, fall down, they might get a bruise, they might get a cut, things like that.
hmm
But those are situations that they need to start negotiating, early on, and so that they can, further develop um, in whatever variables might get thrown their way. And the
hmm
outdoor environment is providing, all kinds of additional variables all the time for
So
us to adapt to.
true. Uh-huh.
And whether you're just, even if you're in the same place, there's
hmm
differences from day to day. But if you're out in a new
Yeah.
environment, even if it's not that far from your house, you're going to experience, very new things.
hmm
And whether that's from a physical standpoint, just getting used to running over rocks and jumping over logs, things like that. I mean,
hmm
that's an environment that if you're stuck in the city all the time and you're only
hmm
on flat roads, you're not physically developing you're not getting used to jumping
Right.
from rock to rock
hmm
and things like that. And so from a physical development, and from a cognitive, and from that idea about executive functioning, from all those
hmm
standpoints, it really, there's a lot of advantages to getting out there and just learning those things. And so,
Right.
some of it is just, saying, okay, well, worst case scenario, they're going to get a little banged up from this.
Right.
We'll see how this goes, and then, just try to hold it in as long as you can.
Uh-huh.
and and
Exactly.
and then maybe that will stretch you just far enough where you can be like, oh, okay,
hmm
they did really well at this. We'll stretch a little further. So, you're both stretching them and stretching
hmm
yourself at the same time.
Right.
But yeah, just as long as you're in a situation where, overall, the risk isn't, that big, it's really just a good idea to just give them the opportunity to try to figure out how to
hmm
negotiate those situations on their own, and then they can
Right.
come back to you if they need help, when they need help,
hmm
and you can help them figure out a way to do it. But give them the time to try to work it out. There's a lot of advantages to doing that. So.
So true. Yes, it's scary. I think a lot of times parents ask me, well, what do you think about that with your kids doing this? My kids at one point in Minnesota, we lived on a lake and it was like 40 steps down to the lake and we got enough snow. They built a bobsled track and then launched themselves off the end of the dock onto the lake. And I was like, I just don't look.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes you just gotta, you just put it out to sea. Yeah.